You were embarrassed and you hid it under your bed. And like if you took naked pictures of yourself on your cell phone, you hide your face, people.
She stood on that stage with the world watching. Reese Witherspoon didn't just accept an award, she dropped a tactical nuke on a rising star's reputation. It was 2011 and the target was unmistakable. If you take naked pictures of yourself on your cell phone, hide your face, she warned. The audience gasped, but the industry knew exactly who she was talking to. Blake Lively's secret connection with a married leading man had just been dragged into the light. This wasn't just advice, it was a public execution of a scandal that everyone was whispering about behind closed doors.
Blake began dating in 2007. And in August of 2009, Blake and Ben Affleck started filming The Town. And this was around the time that Ben Affleck was married to Jennifer Garner. And then we have this big naughty photo scandal where these photos hit the internet. They were published on Perez Hilton. But the naughty photos were allegedly sent to Ben Affleck.
To understand why Reese went scorched earth, we have to go back to the set of The Town in 2010. Blake Lively was the young, gorgeous breakout star, but she wasn't just focused on her lines. Rumors began swirling like a hurricane about her and Ben Affleck. At the time, Ben was supposedly happily married to Jennifer Garner, the industry's sweetheart, but the professional boundaries reportedly vanished the second the camera stopped rolling. People on set noticed a shift, a magnetic pull that went way beyond acting, and it started making everyone very uncomfortable for the sake of his marriage.
Some people, though, like Blake Lively, I heard, sort of didn't understand.
Blake, yes, is not 40. Blake is 21 or whatever she is, 22. She's a fabulous, as you can see, she's a gorgeous young woman.
Then came the photos that changed everything. A series of explicit images hit the internet, published by Perez Hilton, and the world stopped spinning. These weren't just leaked snapshots. They were allegedly intended for one specific recipient, Ben Affleck. Insiders claimed Blake took these photos to ensure she kept Ben's undivided attention during filming. It was a bold, high-stakes move that backfired spectacularly. While the public debated the ethics of the leak, Hollywood insiders were looking at Blake with a completely different lens. They saw a dangerous pattern beginning to form. The fallout was immediate and messy. Blake was dating her Gossip Girl co-star Penn Badgley at the time, and he was reportedly devastated by the headlines. Imagine being in a committed relationship only to find out your partner's private photos are circulating among her co-stars. But the real damage was happening in the Affleck-Garner household. Jennifer Garner was forced to watch her husband's name get dragged into a scandal involving a woman half her age. This is where the industry lines were drawn, and Reese Witherspoon decided she had seen enough of the blatant disrespect.
I think back to going through a very public, very hard moment in my life. This one was right there, and the way I needed to get through it was dance cardio. And I danced cardioed so hard we broke her foot, but she kept going.
Many people wondered if the leak was actually a genuine hack or a calculated PR stunt. In the cutthroat world of Hollywood, some believe Blake herself might have been behind the release to boost her profile. It's a strategy we've seen before with stars like Kim Kardashian, where controversy becomes a ladder to A-list status. But while it may have increased her fame, it absolutely destroyed her reputation among the Hollywood elite. Reese Witherspoon, a woman who prides herself on professionalism and loyalty, saw this as a direct violation of the unspoken and sacred sisterhood code.
We know Robert Pattinson is obviously feeling a little bit blue these days since he learned about Kristen Stewart's affair with Rupert Sanders. There's been reports that Rob has been in both LA and London, but according to a news story in Us Weekly, he's been leaning on his close pal Reese Witherspoon, staying at her ranch in Ojai, California.
Reese's warning at the MTV Movie Awards wasn't just about digital privacy, it was a shot across the bow regarding Blake's history with married men. People began digging into Blake's past and noticed a recurring theme. When she started dating her now husband, Ryan Reynolds, he was still legally married to Scarlett Johansson. The timeline was blurry, and the whispers of another overlap grew louder. It seemed like Blake had a specific interest in men who were already taken, a power couple theory that suggested she gravitated towards situations where the stakes were at their highest.
I think for years in Hollywood, I watched the abuse of power.
Oh, yeah.
And power corrupting. And also people assuming power when they hadn't really done the work to have.
Fast forward years later, and the tension between these camps hasn't faded. Jennifer Garner recently posted a cryptic video that sent the internet into a frenzy. She was seen playfully addressing a statue as if it were Blake Lively, using a tone that many described as mocking. She even referenced a Scarlet Witch theme, which fans immediately linked to the Marvel character known for causing chaos and reality-bending destruction. Was it just a joke, or was it a lingering resentment from a decade ago? The internet was convinced that the old guard hadn't forgotten the drama.
Started to grow such a disliking for Blake Lively right at the moment she was launching Blake Brown. And it's really very likely that the brand's lukewarm performance so far is a result of her declining reputation and
Reese Witherspoon has always been the unofficial protector of her circle. When Jennifer Garner was going through her hardest public moments, Reese wasn't just sending flowers, she was there in the trenches. They would do intense fitness sessions together, using physical exertion as a way to process emotional trauma. This level of loyalty is rare in Hollywood, and it's why Reese's warning carries so much weight even today. She doesn't just support her friends. She guards the gates against anyone she perceives as a threat to the stability and professional standards of the industry.
Wrested his movie away from him and decided to try to hurt him with petty, made-up.
It's not just Jennifer Garner who found sanctuary with Reese. When Robert Pattinson was dealing with the crushing weight of Kristen Stewart's public affair, he didn't head to a hotel. He retreated to Reese's private ranch in Ojai, California. She provided him with a safe space to heal away from the paparazzi's prying eyes. This shows a side of Reese that the public rarely sees, the silent, powerful broker of safety. It also highlights why she is so critical of those she feels use scandals to manipulate the media, as she has spent her career cleaning up the mess left behind by others.
Reese Witherspoon tried to warn Blake Lively 15 years ago. And if you think I'm lying, watch this clip, which came around the time when rumors about Blake and Ben Affleck's relationship were at their...
This history makes the recent drama surrounding Blake Lively's film It Ends With Us feel like history repeating itself. The production was plagued by rumors of a massive rift between Blake and her director, Justin Baldoni. While Justin was the creative force who spent years developing the project, sources suggest that once Blake stepped on set, the power dynamics shifted violently. It wasn't just about acting anymore, it was about who controlled the narrative. Fans started noticing that the two stars weren't even doing press together, leading to intense and viral speculation. The internet began to side with Justin, painting a picture of a director who had his movie wrestled away from him by a high-profile star. People accused Blake of using petty, out-of-context narratives to hurt his reputation during the film's launch. It felt eerily similar to the tactics discussed years ago during the Ben Affleck scandal. In Hollywood, when an actor becomes a producer, they gain a level of influence that can be used for good or for ego. Many felt that Blake was using her branding power to overshadow the person who actually did the heavy lifting for the production. Reese Witherspoon's television work on The Morning Show seems to be reflecting these real-world power struggles. The show explores themes of workplace corruption, media culture, and the way power can change a person. One specific line about rats and basements became a viral sensation, with viewers drawing direct parallels to the Blake Lively situation. While the show is scripted drama, Reese has admitted that she's watched the abuse of power in Hollywood for years. She has seen people assume authority before they've really done the work to earn it, and she isn't staying quiet. The contrast between Reese's production company, Hello Sunshine, and Blake's business ventures is striking. Reese built a creative empire by finding meaningful stories and championing female writers and directors. She earned her seat at the table through a decade of consistent results. On the other hand, Blake's expansion into production and branding, like her hair care line Blake Brown, has been met with a much more critical lens. Critics argue that while Reese builds institutions, Blake is building a brand based on personal identity, which is much more fragile and volatile. Blake's hair care launch happened right as the public sentiment began to turn against her. The timing couldn't have been worse. As the rumors of the on-set tension with Justin Baldoni grew, her brand's performance seemed to stall. People are no longer just buying a product because a celebrity's name is on it. They are buying into the person behind the name. If that person is seen as someone who undermines their colleagues or has a history of causing marital tension, the brand suffers. It's a lesson in reputation management that Reese Witherspoon mastered a long time ago. There's also the looming shadow of Taylor Swift's directorial debut. In the halls of Hollywood power, everyone is wondering who will get to produce Taylor's first big feature. While Blake and Taylor are close friends, industry experts point towards seasoned producers like Reese as the more likely collaborators. Taylor is a global force, and she needs a production team with a proven track record of handling massive scale and complex literary adaptations. This creates an unspoken competition where professional legacy wins out over social media friendships every single time. Looking back at Reese's 2011 warning, it feels like a prophecy that has finally come to pass. She warned about the dangers of chasing attention through controversy and the importance of protecting one's face and reputation. Blake Lively has spent years cultivating a perfect polished image alongside Ryan Reynolds, but the cracks are starting to show. When you build your career on being the charming girl next door while simultaneously being linked to messy behind-the-scenes drama, the two identities eventually collide. The public is starting to re-examine everything they thought. The most telling part of this entire saga is the silence from Blake's former co-stars. While Reese has a long list of colleagues like Jennifer Aniston and Jennifer Garner who speak of her with absolute reverence, the narrative around Blake is often much more complicated. In a town built on relationships, your reputation is your most valuable currency. If you spend it all on power plays and short-term publicity stunts, you eventually run out. Reese understood this from day one, which is why she was comfortable calling out the behavior on a national stage before it was even a trend. Even the way Blake handles press tours has come under fire. During the promotion for It Ends With Us, her interactions with journalists were described as dismissive or even hostile by some viewers. This lack of professionalism is exactly what Reese was hinting at when she spoke about the corruption of power. When you feel untouchable, you stop caring about how you treat the people around you. But in the digital age, every interaction is recorded and analyzed. The warning from 15 years ago wasn't just about photos, it was about the attitude that led to them being taken. The industry is currently undergoing a shift where the old guard of professional, structured power is clashing with the new wave of celebrity branding. Reese represents the former, a self-made mogul who values the craft and the hierarchy of the set. Blake represents the latter, where the lines between actress, producer, and lifestyle influencer are blurred into one singular brand. The problem arises when that brand starts to interfere with the creative process of others. That's when the warning from peers turns into a full-scale public rejection by the audience worldwide. Social media has played a massive role in resurfacing these old grievances. Clips of Reese's speech go viral every time Blake is involved in a new controversy, acting as a reminder that the industry has been watching this for a long time. It's not just fans being messy. It's a documented history of behavior that is finally being connected into a single narrative. From the set of The Town to the promotional tour of It Ends With Us, the pattern of centering oneself at the expense of others is becoming harder to ignore. The internet is finally catching up to Reese's perspective. We also have to consider the role of the leading men in these stories. Ben Affleck and Ryan Reynolds are both powerful figures who have navigated these scandals alongside Blake. But while they often maintain their standing, it's the women in the situation who bear the brunt of the public scrutiny. Reese's intervention was a way of shifting that focus and demanding accountability. She wasn't just attacking a younger actress. She was trying to preserve the dignity of the industry. She knew that if these tactics became the norm, the entire culture would change for the worse. Ultimately, the viral resurgence of this warning serves as a cautionary tale for any rising star. Success in Hollywood is a marathon, not a sprint. You can gain fame through controversy, but you gain respect through consistency and character. Reese Witherspoon has both, because she was willing to stand up for what was right, even when it was uncomfortable. Blake Lively is now at a crossroads where she has to decide if she wants to continue building her brand on power struggles or if she's willing to do the work to regain the trust of her peers and the public audience. In the end, the truth always finds a way to the surface. Whether it's through a leaked photo, a cryptic social media post, or a pointed award show speech, the masks eventually slip. Reese Witherspoon saw behind the mask 15 years ago and tried to tell the world. Today, as we watch the drama unfold on film sets and red carpets, her words carry more weight than ever. Hollywood might be a place of make-believe, but the consequences of your actions are very real. The only question left is who will be the next person to receive a warning before their own mask falls off.